Hello and welcome to today's Up to Thrive Manage Your Mind Mindful Moment.
Welcome to Up to Thrive, your go-to podcast for women's wellness in midlife, designed to educate, support, and inspire you to live your very best life. And now your host, Dr. Karina Sims.
I mentioned on a recent podcast episode that I have been invited to do a regular spot on our local ABC radio station. Now, for those of you who aren't rural or you aren't Aussie, ABC radio is a thing, especially here rurally. I didn't really know this until I met my husband and I moved here to Renmark. The ABC, I would say, would be what he listens to most, I think, as he goes about doing his jobs around the farm. Now, over the years that I've lived here, I have been asked a few times to give an interview about different things along the way, and even more so since I've started the podcast and have started a menopause clinic. And this is when I really realized how many people actually do listen to the ABC, because afterwards, I often get people saying that they heard me on the radio. Well, the other day as I was driving into the parking lot to go in for my talk on the radio, I got the familiar heart racing, a little shallow breathing, and my brain asking me, why are you doing this? I think for most of us, being interviewed on the radio is a little anxiety provoking. I think that's fair. But when my brain asked me this question, I immediately recognized what it was doing, and I reminded myself that these sensations that might be usually associated with some kind of life or limb-threatening experience were actually a good thing. And then, after having that thought, the sensations gently fizzled out. And then I went in and I sat down and I waited to be interviewed. And as I sat there, my mouth again started to go a little bit dry. And again, I could feel my heart starting to race and my breathing started to get a little bit more rapid and shallow. Again, I just took note of these things and told my brain, it's okay, we're okay. This is a good thing. And again, the sensations gently fizzled out. I reflected on all of this later and realized that over time, as I have done a few of these now, that I have been on the radio a few times now, it has gotten easier to convince my brain we're okay. And the intense sensations have gotten less and less intense. I'm reminded of the times over the last couple of years when I've put my body and brain through repeated experiences where instinctively I have wanted to run or vomit or both, where my brain was questioning why I am doing this. For instance, when I first started interviewing people on the podcast, especially Professor Davis. That was a bad one. I really felt like spewing for that one. I was terrified. And then when I first did my first webinar, or when I first started nutrition and mindset coaching for my friends over at The Fit Physician. Those women are surgeons and physicians. I was beyond terrified that I wouldn't know all the answers of the questions that they would ask me, that I wouldn't live up to their expectations, that I would freeze and go blank and not know what to say. And again, with time and experience, I now no longer feel that way. But it isn't just time and experience that has made me more comfortable with any of these things. It is also being driven to be prepared to learn more, practice more, continue to stretch and grow into the speaker I want to be, the interviewer I want to be, the coach and the creator that I want to be. I recently put up a social media post about how we do lose some things as we age. Our eyesight often isn't as good as it used to be. Hello, bifocals. Our skin isn't as smooth as it once was. But one thing we do not lose is our potential. And I wholeheartedly believe this. I think many of us don't even know how much potential we actually still have. And I also think if we're not growing and exploring that potential, then we risk stagnating. And we all know what stagnation does to still water. Becomes cloudy, lifeless, unhealthy. And who wants that? When we look at the science, it tells us that pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone and doing things that are mentally, socially, and physically demanding helps us to be more resilient, improves our psychological well-being, and even our physical health. But as we age, it becomes even that much more important because doing new, challenging, and unfamiliar activities stimulates neuroplasticity, where the brain is actually building and strengthening new connections. And this can help protect our brain function and memory as we age, meaning it can slow down the rates of dementia. But stepping outside our comfort zone doesn't just help the brain's function. It also can improve our motivation, increase our sense of curiosity, purpose, and optimism about getting older, which then makes us more likely to keep doing the things that challenge our thinking and support our overall well-being. So it's this beautiful, positive feedback loop. And when these new experiences involve other people, there's this added benefit because social connection strengthens our support networks, reduces loneliness, and gives us a sense of belonging and contribution, things that are all strongly linked to better mental health and greater life satisfaction. And all of this becomes especially important for us women in midlife. Because in midlife, many of us are going through some pretty big transitions. Menopause, changing roles, caring for others, shifting priorities, and all of these things can just quietly chip away at our energy, our confidence, and even our cognitive resilience. But stepping outside our comfort zone and trying something new, especially when it's social or skill-based, builds confidence, creates connection, and reminds us that we are still capable of learning and growing. I was thinking about some of the things that I know some of us are afraid of that give us those life or limb-threatening sensations in our bodies, and I want to list a few now and maybe give you some ideas of things you could try if you want to add some to your own list. Trying something public, like a class, a talk, a workshop, or a social activity. Starting something as a beginner, a musical instrument, a dance class. Speaking up or putting yourself forward at work, in a group, or in a new role. Trying a new sport or activity. Cycling, swimming, Pilates, strength training, hiking, especially if it's been years. Walking into the gym alone or using a different part of the gym like the free weights section. Joining a group fitness class. Asking for help or coaching. Wearing clothes that show those strong arms, legs, or shoulders that you're developing with all of that resistance training I know you're doing. And maybe someone out there even feels life or limb anxiety when they dare prioritize themselves. So let's put this on the list. Booking time for exercise, learning, or resting without feeling guilty. Whatever it is, whatever you choose, remember, it is never too late to start. And it is going to get easier and easier as you repeat the activity, as you build those new neural pathways with all that beautiful neuroplasticity. Even if movement or new activities haven't been part of your life before, beginning or even just doing a little bit more can give us all of these amazing benefits. This stage of life is a powerful window of time where the choices that we make can really help protect our bodies and our brains for many decades to come. So friends, I hope that rather than seeing midlife as a time to pull back, you'll choose to lean into new, slightly uncomfortable challenges that are going to protect brain function, improve physical health, strengthen mental well-being, and keep you engaged in this beautiful life that we get to live. Remember, every time you choose to stay with that discomfort instead of avoiding it, you're not just building courage, you're literally reshaping and protecting your brain. You can think of it this way. The comfort zone is a nice place to be, but not much is growing there.
I hope you've enjoyed this Manage Your Mind mindful moment. And if you have, and you can think of someone else who might enjoy it, please pass it on. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast to make it more visible to those who might get something out of it too.
Hey, before you go, if you're a midlife woman who wants to feel better in your body, whether that means improving your health, building strength and confidence, or working towards weight change in a kinder, more sustainable way, I have created something especially for you to support you. It's called the Midlife Health and Body Reset Kickstart Guide, and it's a free 7-day foundations guide to help you understand what's going on in your body in midlife and what actually makes a difference from here. You can download it using the link in the show notes. And if you're ready to take things even a step further and you'd like personalized support, you're welcome to join me inside the Midlife Reset. It's my coaching program for midlife women who want clarity, accountability, and compassionate guidance as they build strength, improve their health, and create real lasting change. I'm now running monthly intake cycles, which means there's a supported onboarding start date each month, so you don't have to wait for a big launch and you can begin when the timing feels right for you with guidance from day one. You'll find a link in the show notes to get you all the details, including the date of the next intake. And if you're not sure whether it's the right fit, you're always welcome to reach out and ask me any questions. We can even book a little discovery call where we find out if we're a good fit and if it's the right program for you. Just send me a message. Thanks so much for listening and for being here.
Have a great week, everyone. And until then, I hope you opt to thrive.
The Opt to Thrive podcast is designed for information purposes only and is not engaged in the giving of medical advice. The information provided on the podcast should not be used for diagnosing or treating a health problem or disease. In no way should the information provided by Opt to Thrive be considered medical advice, and at all times the advice of a medical professional should supersede recommendations from Opt to Thrive. If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, you should consult your healthcare provider. The views expressed in this podcast are purely that of Dr. Sims and do not in any way reflect those of the institutions she contracts for medical services to.
Thank you for listening to Opt to Thrive. If you've enjoyed listening, please rate and share the podcast. You can visit our website at opttothrive.com and leave a comment for any subjects you would like to hear more about.